The hell, I got hot all of a sudden to open that door or something. Make sure we got our mics on. Hello, 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 everyone. It's the Security Czar. It's the Security Czar with the GOAT TV. Welcome to another episode of my live stream on my YouTube channel. Um, Glad to have you guys. It's been about a week since I've been online. The last time I was online, I was talking about Charlie Kirk and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So, I'm gonna continue that theme. I don't know what's going on, man. Going through something. I just got hot flashes all of a sudden. Could be because I'm in here under these lights, but damn, it's weird. Nonetheless, guys, welcome to the channel. Last time I was on, I was talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to be talking about that again today, but from a new perspective. If you all seen the pictures that I posted on my community here on YouTube, or likely on Instagram, it shows me holding a rifle, um, 30-06 rifle. It's one of my favorite rifles I have in my arsenal. A gun that is a very powerful, very accurate gun. This 30, when they call it a 30-06, the 30 means that it's a 30 caliber shell, as opposed to damn, I don't even have any of those shells in here. I should have had them in here for this live, but nonetheless, it's a 30 caliber shell, and as opposed to a 223 shell or 556 shell, or even a 22 caliber rifle shell that I had on the picture. So just showing you the different sizes of those rounds, and so that you can put it into perspective, the round that Mr. Kirk was assassinated with. So, as we've been going through this, a lot of people who have been talking about this assassination. A lot of people have been counseled for talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, arrested on college campuses, fired from their jobs. Even Jimmy Kimmel today. I learned today that just shortly ago that the Jimmy Kimmel show has been counseled indefinitely while they investigate comments that he made about Charlie Kirk. Now, if any of y'all watched Jimmy Kimmel or even watched that episode of what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, he didn't really say anything. He didn't say anything that was out of the way. It was just pretty much as um, uh, left wing, right wing, MAGA stuff like that. It wasn't nothing out of context, but well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you exactly what was said. It was said that the shooter Tyler Robinson was not a left wing liberal. That said Tyler Robinson was more than likely right wing and had right wing ideologies. And so I think Jimmy Kimmel made a comment to something to that effect. And the next thing you know, his show was yanked off of the air. Now you just imagine how successful Kimmel has been for years, and just to have your show yanked off the air like that, your livelihood, your reputation, based on comments that you made. So I want to keep this very vanilla here. I have had people, when I've talked about Trump, I talked about Epstein, I talk about some of these instances like this. I'm talking from not a political standpoint. They just happen to be political figures. I am talking about a logic standpoint, a reality standpoint, and pushing the content based on those type of things. So, for those of you who are on the channel, do me a favor. First of all, thank you for coming to my channel. I don't know why you stopped here. I don't know if you watched my content before, if you're new to the channel, but thank you for coming to the channel, to hear what I have to say. So, my name is Melvin Key. The CEO of MVP Protective Services, but also go by the name of Security Guy on my social media handles, which I recently changed to the GOAT TV. So I'm still the security czar. I'm just the name of my YouTube channel is the GOAT TV. I have over 30 years in executive security, working at the very high level in corporate America with Fortune 1 to 500 companies, primarily in the top Fortune 50 companies, providing executive protection and executive transportation, secure transportation to those people, executives, people in the C-suite, and the corporations that work with those corporations. Also working with high profile figures, presidential candidates, senators, governors, mayors, congressmen, representatives of different states, and also working directly with them for personal transportation, secure transportation, close protection, and also working at high profile or securing high profile events, including the inauguration, which I was in charge of contract security from the Capitol to the White House in 2021. And I had also in my law enforcement career, been a senior law enforcement manager and managing protests, uh, protests and inaugurations in Washington D.C. So that is a little bit about my background. I started out when I was on the police department, working closely with the State Department, working closely with the Secret Service. And then I got into entertainment security, doing celebrities and entertainers, rappers, athletes. After a while, it gets a little bit boring. Is it can be dangerous, and the pay is the reward is not worth the pay. So I just simply migrated over into corporate and government security, and I've been over there ever since. Now, so when I talk about this Charlie Kirk thing, really, like what happened here, how was this done? I've seen so many quote unquote professionals say, oh, if I was the agent in charge, or this was my security team, this wouldn't have happened, that wouldn't have happened. I hear what you're saying. Ideally, I would like to say that too. But we're not perfect. They assassinated Trump. I mean, assassinated John F. Kennedy. They were almost as successful at assassinating Donald Trump. They assassinated Martin Luther King. I mean, there are a lot of people in history who have been assassinated, and it's not that as professionals, executive protection professionals, that we have perfected um, protecting our principles, our protectees. What is true is uh, I always love these comments that come on here. I appreciate it, whoever this is, Benjamin. I don't even know you, man. But nonetheless, um, so everybody, I would like to say, yeah, I could have protected that. But to hear people on social media just like that wouldn't have happened. Okay, in theory, that wouldn't have happened. So in the protection team, some people said we still don't know who were the people protecting Charlie Kirk. We have no idea that there was a security company that was named. That security, I think, is Schaefer Group. We follow each other on Instagram. I believe that's the name. Schaefer Group said they haven't protected Charlie Kirk since 2022. Dared to ask them, and I probably will just reach out to them, and it may be a sensitive matter for them, so they may not talk about it at all. But who was the security company who was protecting Charlie Kirk? Some people say that there were signs being given. You see one of the security guards patting down his head. You see somebody else tilting their hat. All of these are signs that have been discovered in uh, in the military, or have been disclosed in the military as signs of for snipers and other people trying to make marks or communicate without people knowing what's going on. So a lot of internet sleuths, professionals have broken down these signs, alleged signs by people close into Charlie Kirk at the time of his assassination. And I'm gonna be honest with you, not unless I know I've seen you shoot, I know how well you shoot. I know you have to know you're top flight assassin for me to stand on the stage and give signals to you while you shoot somebody who's standing next to me. I mean, I just had to have a lot of faith in your shot, that the wind doesn't blow the wrong way, that I've seen you shoot 1,000 yards from 1,000 yards and hit a target from 500,000 yards before I stand on the stage and will allow you to shoot somebody who's standing next to me. I'm not necessarily sure if that wasn't coincidental. Some of the signs, or what looked like signs from Charlie Kirk's bodyguards or executive protection agents. I'm not sure. I just that's a theory, but there's a lot of there are a lot of theories out here, and I think those theories should be discussed. So, in my mind, I want to know to you guys, from you guys, do you believe that it's a two-part question? Number one, do you believe that the kid that was shot by Secret Service, the Secret Service sniper in Butler, Pennsylvania during the Trump campaign, do you believe that he acted on his own? And then also, do you believe this guy, this young guy, Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old graduate, college student graduate, actually decided, okay, this is I'm going to do this, and did it, right? So when you look at, I don't even really know where to start with this, right? Because I want to talk about those executive protection agents that said that they could have stopped this. What I said about this thing, the basis of any security detail first starts with a risk assessment. Okay, what are the risks if we go to this event? Some of the risks could be some of the risks could be we could be inconvenienced. Someone could physically assault Charlie Kirk. We may be trapped there and may not get out. There may be a mass shooter on the campus. There may be a thunderstorm, and the event is outside, and we might get caught in a thunder or lightning storm. That's a risk, right? These are risks that may happen. So when you're doing your risk assessment, then you also develop sometimes what are threats. A threat. So also a risk could be you could get shot. You could be assassinated. That is a risk. So then we determine how likely are these risks to happen, right? And then you can start ranking those risks from 1 to 5, 1 to 10, however 1 to 20, however you decide to rank them, whatever scale you use. Now, if one of the risks was that Charlie Kirk may be assassinated, we would have to have information to quantify that. What do I mean? We got emails, we received social media posts, we have a person that has been stalking Charlie Kirk, we have been getting letters at his house, we have pictures taken of his family, his kids, his vehicles. So we have actually identified this is no longer a risk, this is actual threat. And when you identify a threat, you have to identify a specific threat. Okay, the specific threat may be saying, okay, Charlie Kirk is coming to Utah Valley um, campus, and we're going to assassinate him. That is a specific threat. We don't know who the threat is coming from, but we know that that is a specific threat that someone alleged is going to happen. So once you get the specific threat, how do you manage that threat? That is the question. Now we know someone said they're going to kill Charlie Kirk or Charlie Brown for that matter. So how do you now manage that threat? So this is where you could technically protect them. What are some of the options? I can give you guys some, but what are some of the options if we decided, okay, there is a threat? What are the vulnerabilities that would allow this threat to succeed? So we have a threat. Someone said a specific threat. Someone said they were going to attempt to assassinate Charlie Kirk on that day at that campus. What are some of the vulnerabilities? Some of the vulnerabilities would be to look at the area we were going to be in, where he was sitting at. Okay, what now in that area? Where would the exposure be? Where would the vulnerability be? So when you see that you have a team of 5 men, those men were stationed around the tent where Charlie Kirk was. And that was close protection, right? So you got executive protection, but part of executive protection is close protection. You first come in, you're going to do your assessment. Where are the vulnerabilities? Looking at the access points, the regress points, looking at we teach in our school, the MVP School of Executive Protection, to look from floor to ceiling, right, or ground to rooftop. So we're looking for those vulnerability points. Now, once the event gets going, nobody's thinking, okay, if there were no threats, we didn't have suspect any threats, or we didn't get any threats. We didn't have any specific threats. Nobody's going to be specifically assigned to look at a roof. You got a 5-man team. What you're worried about are all of those things are close in. Yes, you have to be observant of the roof, but you really won't. You can't divide your attention in two different places. And this all boils down to resources. How many resources that do you have? Um, thank you, Bungie. How many resources do you have? If you got a 5-man team, that means one is a driver, one is the actual agent in charge, somebody is the body man, and somebody may be the lead or advanced guy. So those are the persons who go in, do your research, etc., right? And then lead you through crowds, points of access, points of regress. That's what an advanced or lead agent does. So those are not many people. So one person is in the car, one person is directly close with the principal, one person may be a support person, and the other person is the advanced person, and that's all you got. So end up with those 4 or 5 people, one in the car. Those other 4 people are looking at what's right in front of us. What's in striking distance? Now, if we went there, it's clear. Maybe it's clear that these guys didn't do advance. So if I knew that my principal was going to be speaking at a venue and that it was going to be outside, one of the things I would want to know is how many people do we expect to show up? That gives you a baseline of what you need to do. So 3,000 people. Okay, 3,000 people. He is a high profile figure. He has had some threats or but maybe hate mail, but no real quantified threats. So at a minimum, we need to put up barricades around the speaking platform, right? That way, those some of your other resources could be deployed in other places or used at a better point of advantage. So because there was no barricade, all of the agents that were assigned to protect him was right there in front of the crowd, really giving you that much reaction time. So reaction time is perception time, and perception time you perceive what's going on, and then the time that you act. So it's a two-part thing. It's just like it's not instantaneous. You have to see it, analyze what's going on, and then respond. That's reaction time. So with the short space in between the stage and the crowds, that was a problem in and of itself. And that called for the agents that were in close to pay detailed attention to the crowd. Of course, they could have looked up at the roof from time to time, but I'm certain that that wasn't their main concern, unless there was a specific threat that said somebody said that we were going to assassinate Charlie Kirk this week, next week, next year, today at this event. You needed to have that. And without that, and without identifying a suspect to attach that to, it's very hard to start planning for places that you can't cover with your 4 or 5-man team. So I did a news interview the other day. They asked me how many people would we need to cover that, and how much would it cost. So I want to get into the details because eventually that article will come out and you guys will get to see it. But nonetheless, we're talking about it needs to be layered security, right? You need to have event security. And when we talk about event security, we talk about your crowd management people. You see those guys as they even young kids somewhere from 18 to 80, right? This is what you see when you get event planning and crowd management people. They're concerned with access control. That's maybe having metal detectors or wands, walkthrough magnetometers, evolve, whatever it is, the system that you use to get people in and out of the venue and check them. They're concerned with that. In addition, they are concerned with perimeter. If there are any perimeter, this is a campus, so it can't be any perimeter. Everything has to be wide open. So I'm certain that there were no checkpoints. I'm certain that the only places that the event, if it wasn't a ticketed event, the only places that the crowd managers or event security was maybe at critical points like the Jiffy Johns where people go to bathroom, the food courts if there was something there, somewhere in the backstage or around the entertainment tent. Just things that they're really didn't call, call for real security, but they needed to have a security presence there to handle incidents and the like. Now, I don't know. Again, I don't know if they had access control. If they did, if they had access control, which means they would have to have a perimeter. On a college campus, I think that's very, very hard to do when people are already on that college campus. So, these are things that when we're talking about layered security, in order um, to protect an event like that, you would need event security. Behind that, you would need, it's a college. Okay, how many people are on the campus police or the public safety team? Have you talked to the director of public safety for the campus? Do they have resources outside of public safety, like local police? Well, I don't know what local police department is there. In addition to the local police, do they have connections with state police department? So you see, I'm adding all of these things on, but there's a caveat to this as well, because I'm gonna add one more thing on, and then I'm gonna tell you what the caveat is. Okay, so we got security guards, the access control. What are their qualifications? Pretty much is none. Put on the shirt, show up, and be on time. Uh, that's really pretty much it. That what it is. Put the shirt on, show up. We'll see you at 6 o'clock on Saturday. No real training, as we saw in Astro World and a lot of other events. Um, so you have that, and then you have the next layer would be the public safety for the campus, then local security, state police, and then the additional layer of security would be would be Charlie Kirk's security team himself, themselves, right? And I don't know again if they were employees of Charlie Kirk or if they were contractors, but nonetheless, how many people would we need to protect Charlie Kirk? First, we would have to know what we're protecting them from, and if it's a sniper attack, then what are the measures that we now put in place? Now we've added additional 5 man for Charlie Kirk. I can be honest with you. I work with a lot of celebrities, a lot of corporate executives, a lot of presidential candidates, governors, senators, congressmen, congresswomen. They don't even have that much security. And so for this guy to say, okay, we're going to put 10 people around him, absent a bona fide, quantified, qualified threat, then it would be a waste of time and a waste of money, so to speak. Um, because it boils down to this: who pays the bill? Who pays for it? Is Salt Lake what is it? Utah Valley University? Do they pay for it? The police aren't showing up because it's just a good thing to do. They like Charlie Kirk or something like that. If you hire the police department, you ask the police department to come in. It's not that college campus is private property. It's not public space. The police are not obligated to come and patrol public space. They're not obligated to come and stand around public space while you hold your event. So if you get these officers to come onto your campus to do work, they have to be paid. And so the question remains, who pays the police? The local police, the state police, the city police, the campus police? Do they get paid overtime? Do they have enough campus police to actually secure this? Were there any pre-con meetings? Did everybody sit down all together? The director of public safety, Charlie Kirk's security team, the person who was managing the event? Did we look at the sites? Did we look at the buildings? Did we say, okay, there's a threat of a sniper. We need to cover these buildings. We don't have enough manpower to cover these buildings. How about put up a big banner in front to obscure anywhere where a person would have a vantage point of where our person is speaking, or if we put up a banner, any vantage point where they would be able to snipe, we can put up a banner so that they couldn't shoot from that top of building. They couldn't shoot because they couldn't see. Do absent not having a banner? Okay, these are the two buildings that we are most concerned about. If somebody was going to shoot or somebody was going to make an attack on our principal, they would have to do it from there, right? This comes with planning. A lot of people don't do planning. They just say, "Hey, I need to be at somewhere at this time." You get a principal or executive assistant or somebody telling you where they need to be. Blah blah blah. You don't get a chance to fly out to the place and check it out first. Most people who show up with their clients or their principals, they show up with them when it's time to get down. Okay, boom, here it is. Then hey, the director of security. Hey, my name is John. I'm head of security for Charlie Kirk. Yeah, can you show me where he'll be setting up? And you have very little time to walk the campus, to speak with people, to meet with people, to have an emergency plan, an evac plan, any of that stuff. So and then also I wish Larry Penton was on here. Larry Penton is Penton's Consultant Solutions. He does all of our training for our executive protection courses. If you're in the executive protection course and you don't have CPR, AED, first aid, and stop the bleed, you are not an executive protection agent. You need to stop, go rethink this, or go do another career. A specific reason you're going to need that is because your principal may get injured in the line of duty, and you may need to patch them up. I see so many training schools and so many people practicing doing all of this, shooting the guns and all of that stuff, rolling on the ground. I see people fighting inside of a car. And I always wonder, I'm like, how the hell did a person get inside your car to have a fight? I had nobody in my 54 years, nobody has ever jumped in my car and I had to fight them for a gun or anything. How does that happen? I mean, did you just open the door? Or, I mean, did you not look in the back seat and they broke in your car some kind of way and got into the car? And now, I mean, are you driving Uber? Maybe if you drive an Uber or Lyft, you can learn how to fight in the car. But if you're an executive protection agent, what do you need to learn how to fight in the car for? I'm just curious. Now, unless you got some domestic violence problems or something going on like that, why you need to fight in the car? Why all of these shooting drills? Why, if more executive protection schools went back to the fundamentals of how to protect people, which is risk assessment, threat assessment, and security advances. Homework is how you protect people. Not showing up pretty with the Oakley sunglasses, trying to style and profile and all of that good stuff when you haven't done anything. All of that is on bravado and ego and not skill, right? Executive means execute. Executive protection, execute protection. But so many people are enamored with the who they're protecting and you know stopping people from getting autographs and stuff like that, when you should be focused on stopping people from getting killed. So what would I have done? What would I have done? I would have gone to that school. I would have told Charlie Kirk, his family, okay, we're going. I'm gonna go to the school. Me and Brian, whoever I'm going, Candace, Bungie, we're gonna go to the school and we're gonna map it out. We're gonna get the blueprints of the school. We're gonna see where you're gonna be speaking at. We're gonna meet the director of public safety. We're gonna meet the contractor from the event security company. We're gonna walk the property. We're gonna see if there are any vantage points where a sniper could take a shot at you. You do have to take that into consideration. That's just a risk. It's not a threat until somebody has actually said they're going to do it. That is a consideration. We need to figure out where the closest medical hospitals are, what kind of resources we have, and then we need to be able to deploy. And it's not just showing up a week before, a day before. I'm pretty sure they didn't call Charlie Kirk and say, "Hey, you want to do this next weekend?" That this was going on for months, the planning stage. So if the planning stage is going on for the event for months, the security planning for the event needs to go on for months. The moment you figure out that, hey, we're going to do this event, fine. Boss, whatever you call your principal, me and so gonna need to go out there and check it out. We're gonna need to go and put these things into place, and then you figure out what resources you need and if you have enough. If you don't have enough, you need to have a meeting, but you need to be able to have conversations with these people that you protect. Now, again, I protect a lot of high profile people, and I got to tell you, a lot of them do not want security, period. A lot of people, they don't want a security. They feel like people don't know them. They feel like, it crowds their space. They want to live a regular life, etc. But a lot of people don't want security. And this is what allowed this to happen. And I'm going to go even deeper on this. If you believe, I want to put a post down here too, like a poll. How many people believe that this young man acted alone and assassinated Charlie Kirk? I want to put that down here because I want to know the answer to this for real. How you do it? How you put a poll up there? Anybody know? I know. I said to put my glasses on. I want to know. 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 Bungie, can you put a poll up there? Bungie is a moderator. Bungie, can you write a poll up there and see how many people would answer that question? Bungie is a moderator. If you're still on Bungie, let me know if you could do that. So, oh hell. So yeah, that's what I want to know. How many of y'all believe that that guy really did that by himself? Now, there is I do have the 30-06 rifle. One of my favorite rifles. It has a hell of a kick. The 223 round or 553, that's what you're going to normally shoot from your AR platform, M4 platform. The question is, Bunch, how many people believe that the Charlie Kirk assassin um, uh, did this alone? 'Cause I'm digging into conspiracy theories, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am a conspiracy realist. And I just, on the face of this, the math ain't mathing. Okay, this kid hasn't said anything. They have him in custody. Um, have you seen the text messages that he said? I can see if I could pull it up. It was just weird stuff that he allegedly sent to his transgender roommate about him look under the keyboard under the computer, and then he says he almost got away with it and he had to break down his gun. I mean all the details. It just seemed like it was written by a law enforcement person, and it seemed like it was really really scripted. So you guys look up the text message from the Charlie Kirk assassin to his supposed lover. Um, what is going on? Um, if you find that, you just find out it just didn't seem genuine, right? It's still like this man was set up. Now I said this with the Trump thing, right? I feel like maybe somebody set Trump this Trump shooter up, right? Hey, just look at this. Hey, this is your account. This is you, right? You Bank America. Yeah, that's Bank America. Look at your account. Log into your account. You see that? $100 million. We need you to go. You can't say nothing. Don't say nothing to nobody. Saying something to anybody and kill you, kill your whole family, or the deal is off. But ultimately, they're gonna kill him, kill his whole family. But there's $100 million in your account. Don't say nothing to anybody. We'll give you the rifle. We're gonna set it up so that you can make it onto the roof. Don't worry about the law enforcement. You'll be able to get up there. We're gonna make sure once you get off the roof, you got a flight. Here's your passport. We change your name. You can go and live your rest of your life with your $100 million. And kid says, "Shit, I'm gonna be 100 million. You ain't gonna say nobody. I'm a pretty good shot. You gonna make sure I get away. All right, cool. I already see the $100 million in my account every day. I'm looking in there, 100 million. Taking my rifle and I'm going on top of a roof and I'm going to take a shot, thinking that I'm gonna be living in Hawaii. And 36 hours later. So what actually happened is maybe the Secret Service, I can't say was complicit in the Butler shooting at all. Like they didn't. I don't want to say that they were involved in it. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I can say is that the people who set that person up to shoot at Donald Trump knew that the Secret Service would do their job that day. They knew that that dude would never see $100 million in his account after he fired that shot. It was in there, and then they wiped everything, and nobody ever looked at it because it didn't exist in reality. And I believe that's almost kind of the same play that they used with this guy Tyler Robinson and the Charlie Kirk thing. The question is, why would they set Charlie Kirk up to be killed? Um, did you put the poll up there, Bundy? Okay, I don't know what happened to the polls. Maybe they took the polls down, but I used to could just click on down here at the bottom and put a poll up there. I don't see it. But do it. Maybe do it next time. But polls are good. I like to be able to gauge people. Um, so yeah, That was the deal. All right, just go up there, do your thing. You can get paid. We can clean your clock. That's probably was the deal with Charlie Kirk, but I want to know why would somebody want him killed and then who? Some people were saying it's because he's been pressing about the Epstein files. Of course, a lot of people probably, was hoping that it was a black man who killed him because of his hard stance on black issues, right? But that wasn't the case, and then it gets down, okay, it's a far left. And then Jimmy Kimmel get fired because he said, no, it's a MAGA loyalist or a guy who has mega views. So you don't know who killed him. We don't know who killed him, and we don't really know why. But I can honestly tell you, you guys watch this video, right? You can watch the video of mine. I posted earlier today. I'll log in to my channel and see if I can pull it up. But it's a video. It's a backpack. I have a backpack, a same size backpack as this guy Tyler Robinson had. They saw him walking through the school with this backpack. You don't even see any stretch in the backpack. You don't see a bulge in the backpack. You don't see anything. But they want us to believe that he put this 30-06 rifle in this backpack, broke it down, got on top of the roof, assembled the rifle, waited till Charlie Kirk started speaking, lined him up in the crosshairs, pulled the trigger, broke the rifle down, then stuck it back in the book bag and ran off the roof. And even in his text messages, he was saying, "No, I got away. They got some old guy. They thought it was. They thought it was me, but it wasn't me. This guy, old guy, they said he had a pellet rifle and he jumped up and he was like, I shot him, kill me, or whatever like that. That's what they said. So the old guy now, was he instrumental in it? Was he part of the plot? Because how does Tyler Robinson write this in his text messages before all of this stuff even happens? So his transgender roommate sees this stuff, and it just, I mean, you guys got to read the thread of weird stuff they were saying. Let me see if I can see Charlie Kirk suspect text messages. Um, So, and then he runs off the roof, takes the gun apart. Now, so my rifle is a 700 series 30 700 series Remington. I think it's 700S Remington 30 6 rifle. It'll take you 15 minutes to take the rifle apart. You do need a screwdriver. I heard him saying he had a screwdriver. You have to take 15 minutes to take the gun apart to where it could even potentially fit in a book bag. But if you watch my video, you'll see that even if I took the rifle off, you would still have at least 16 inches with the stock and hanging out of the bag. It's impossible to fit that rifle in the bag. So you see this guy running off the roof, and you can see that the bag is very flimsy. He's just kind of tossing it around. He grabs it and he pulls it. The 30-06 isn't a light rifle. It is a heavy rifle. So how does he just get this bag and he runs off, take this guns apart? I don't know. They don't have a 30-06 that you can break down. And the rifle that he was carrying was a 30-06 Mauser, very old rifle. And he couldn't have done that. He couldn't have done it when he ran off of that roof. If that was the rifle, he then ran into the woods, he says, put the rifle back together and wrapped it in the towel. Now, if you're trying to why do you care if the rifle's put together or not put back together? When did he have time to put the rifle back together when he was trying to escape? So he left it in the woods, wrapped in the towel, and somebody says his DNA was on it. So, it's just all of this stuff really doesn't add up at all. At all. And so it makes you say, there was one shot. Somebody said that there was somebody beside him that shot him. Somebody said something about there being a drone that shot him. He was shot from a drone, but there was one shot. It was evident that it was a rifle round. Who shot the shot? And was it the gun that they recovered? These are the questions that have to be asked. And I say he had to leave that gun there. The shot was fired. He was up and running. When did he take the gun apart? He didn't have time to take the gun apart. He was up and running. Did he leave the gun there and somebody else recovered the gun and then moved the gun? Was the shot actually taken? Because they never said anything. They didn't. They didn't say this. They never said anything about a shell case and recovery. They said shells on the scene. Things that he wrote. If you're reading this, you're gay, and all of this different stuff that he engraved on the script shells on the screen. What he talked about in these weird text messages to his lover. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. So how I'm going to read some of the text messages because I found them. Um, So who took the gun? Who put the gun in the woods? Was there another shooter from another platform? Um, these are questions that have to be asked. But this man did not carry this incident, this shooting, this assassination. He did not do this on his own, by himself, or in his to his own volition. He did not do this. And let's go back and answer some of these questions. So a lot of comments coming in, a lot of questions. I had to put my old eyes on. And then I'm gonna read some of these weird text messages that the dudes allegedly sent. All right. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, Cece said it's so hard to tell what's real and what's fake nowadays. No lie. No lie. And or pressure from Israel. I gotta scroll up. Notice the trend is always some scrawny ass Caucasian dude under. Right, the shit that the government provides is nothing that a 22-year-old Gen X game. Yeah, yeah. So L. Aubrey said the shit that the government provided is nothing that a 22-year-old Gen Xer gamer with far right ideology would say. Right. So okay, let's read some of the stuff. Um, Robinson types his lover. Right. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. When the roommate looked under the keyboard, there was a note that allegedly read, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. This is what it says. The roommate says, what? You're joking, right? Bunch of question marks. This got like 20 question marks. What? You're joking. And Robinson said, I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret until I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Roommate says, you weren't the one who did this, right? And Robinson said, I am sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Here's what it says. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of the side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. He said, why? Roommate says, why? Why? Rob says, why did I do it? And roommate says, yeah. And Rob said, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. But this stuff goes on. I can read if y'all got time. Y'all rock with me. I read it. It's a couple of more paragraphs if you got time. Um, Roommate Robinson said, if I'm able to grab my rifle, he had a lot of, well, I mean, he was really making it a lot of emphasis on his rifle. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Come on, man, get out of here. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. And hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they have already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried about what old man would do if I didn't bring Grandpa's rifle back. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in the bush where I changed outfits. I didn't have the ability or time to bring it with me. I might have abandoned it and hope they don't find prints. How the blank will I explain losing it to my old man? So it's a bunch of rhetoric, right? Remember how, and then he says, remember how I was engraving the bullets. The explicit messages are mostly as big as mostly a big meme. I see how notices budge, whatever, whatever. I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. I don't even know what he's saying. Judging from today, I say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I think it was a $2,000 scope. Like, who says all of this type of stuff? You know what I mean? It's just like, I mean, you just unalive somebody and you just randomly talk about this crazy stuff. And then he tells his lover, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. Well, the feds released the photo of the rifle and it was very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Like, why would his dad? I mean, why would his dad want? Like, he's like thinking in advance. My dad wants pictures of the rifle. Why? Right at that point, at this point, the father doesn't even know that you were an assassin. He don't even like. He just calling you right now. Hey, where you at? Where the gun? Like, they didn't figure it out later on until they released the picture. So what he's talking about right here, he wasn't even a suspect, or they didn't even have an idea what the suspect looked like. And they said, Rob Robinson. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy sheriff. That's what he said. But the deputy sheriff was the one who recognized him, told his father. The father then turned his ass in. And then he says, "You all I worry about, my love. I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you any questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent." For what? The person wasn't involved. So this is not something, this is not even the way a 22-year-old talks to another 22-year-old, my love, and all of this. I don't know. I don't know where he grew up. Salt Lake City is a strange, I mean, Utah is a Salt Lake, I mean, a strange place. A lot of pilgrimage and weird stuff happen there. A lot of history there. So it's just seems really off to me, right? Why put all of this evidence, sending text messages, putting this stuff in Discord, leaving the gun, putting the gun back together, throwing it in the woods, and wrapping it in the towel. If you already got away, you were already gone. Which why take the but nobody was looking for a suspect with a book bag or anything. You just could have gotten your car. You were in your car. You had the gun. You made it to the car. Get in the car, drive away with the gun, throw it in the river. Nobody would ever knew. Or go put it back on your grandpa's wherever you took it from. You know, again, I don't know. I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until everybody said, "Hey, did you hear about Charlie Kirk?" And I'm like, "No, who is Charlie Kirk?" You don't know who Charlie Kirk is? No, I don't watch TV. I don't watch news. If you watch TV and news, all that you get is bad news. And every now and then they say, "Hey," and little Susie won the spelling bee. She got 300 answers right out of and beat everybody across the United States and give round of applause for little Susie who won the spelling bee. But in between that, a 3-year-old got struck with a stray bullet. Somebody went up and shot up the school ground. You got Republican versus Republican fights in the store, people burned in crashes, everything that would make your day go wrong. And most people, first thing they do is when they wake up in the morning, they grab this phone and they start scrolling or they turn on CNN and then they ruin their day. How can you start a positive day when you how can your day be positive? How does it get better from watching all type of carnage and confusion and dissension in the world, and then expect to go out and win the world and have a great day and make people smile? I believe how you start the day is what sets the tone, and this is what we get. So I don't watch news. I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. I began to then follow some of his talk, his rhetoric. Some of it made sense. A lot of it didn't make sense. So uh, I could see why he would need security. But again, does Charlie Kirk would he have the resources to pay for the level of security that he would have needed at that school? The school is probably putting on the event because they need some money. So they don't really have no whole lot of money to put on the event. So they're looking for sponsors to put on the event. They still have to pay Charlie Kirk. He ain't doing it just because he likes Salt Lake or whatever, Utah Valley University. He didn't come there just because he wanted to, you know, talk to the people. Yeah, he loved doing what he did. He made his money off of it. He loved doing what he did, but he wasn't doing it free. He made money off of it. And they so the campus had to pay for him to come there. They had to pay for the event security. They had to pay for the overtime or whatever for the campus security. From my understanding, they didn't have local police. So all of these things with metal detectors, if all of these things were put into place, metal detectors, police, security, somebody would have to pay for it. Trust me, if they're paying Charlie Kirk, he's not then going to dig in his pocket and say, "I need extra security. I need you guys to pay for 5 more guys to come so they can watch the roof, or put somebody on top of the roof, or pay for extra patrols, or pay for 30 more crowd managers." And then again, if the threat is high, the regular people that you get with an event security shirt aren't the people that you want handling the security. I'm just going to be honest. You're going to need another level of security, and those people are highly skilled, highly experienced, and most importantly, highly paid. So, how much do you think it would have taken to cover this event with the type of security that he needs? Good question. How much money do you think it would take? Well, let's go for high risk security, a close protection person. They're doing high risk security. They should be armed, and they should be making anywhere from about 150 to $200 an hour. Right? So let's just call it a 10-hour day. Let's just call it $2,500 per man. You got 10 men, that's $25,000 for your security team. That's their payroll. That's not their flights. That's not their hotels. That's not the vehicles they need or anything per diem. That's not anything else. Just $25,000 just for them to show up and you to put them on your payroll. All right. And if you're going to add additional security, additional security, event security, what was the minimum wage there? So minimum wage times how many hours times how many officers. Now, that's regular event security, but if you want to scale up because the threat is scaled up, you're going to need another level of security. That can cost you anywhere from 50 to $100 an hour for the level of security that you need. So $50 an hour, or let's go $100 an hour times the amount of manpower of that security that you need, um, times how many hours. That could run you another 10, 15, $20,000. The law enforcement officers, again, they don't show up for free. Their working rate is going to be anywhere from 75 to $100 an hour. So you're trying to plus up everything that you need. Metal detectors, the Evolve systems. The Evolve systems run about $6,500 a day. And now Evolve systems help speed up things. You don't have to everybody walk through is beep, and so stop and you warning people. Evolve system allows people to keep walking through bags, chairs, whatever. It would only beep if somebody alarm. So you don't have to stop the whole crowd. People just keep walking. Evolve, beep. This guy right there, the ghost shirt. Maybe if I got like let's say I had a shoulder harness or something on, it would pick that up. It would put a square or a circle over the area where the weapon or is supposed to be. There will be a person to resolve that. Somebody will stop you at the access point, send you over to a different table where they can do further screening of you while everybody else keeps walking, just as long as they don't beep or alarm off. So for a college campus, how many of those you need? That was a big footprint. The bigger the footprint, the bigger the cost. So how could this have been prevented? One, with risk assessment, pre-planning. Two, we have determined that there was a threat. So we're even going to cancel this event because it don't even make sense to have. We can or we can take this event in the inside where we can control the access more. So we now have those evolved systems or metal detectors, at certain doors. We've already swept the building before anybody got in. There are no vantage points where somebody can get on top and snipe down. So anything that was going to happen to our principal would have had to happen up close and personal. And because we've done our planning right, we've supplied the right amount of team members, and not only the right amount of team members, the right team members, and with the right qualifications also matter. A lot of people get on these protection teams because they were police officers, are police officers, military officers, or ex-military officers. Being a police officer, military veteran, or military officer, a bouncer at a club, that you worked 18 years and you did some celebrity security does not qualify you to be on a close protection team. I'm sorry if I'm hurting some of you guys' feelings. If you've been in security for 18, 15, 20 years, and you've never taken a security class to up your level so that you can go, not only your client can go home, so that your ass can go home at night, there's a real problem with you, and you cannot call yourself a professional. And any real professional who has put the work in, who's taking class after class, year after year, certification after certification, read book after book. And I'm not talking about class when you guys go to do all this shooting and stuff and fighting and stuff. All of that's important. Close quarter combat is very important, more so than the shooting, because if anything happens, it happens from 3 to 5, 3 to 7 feet. Even a shootout, not 3 to 7 yards. Most shootouts happen with 3 to 7 feet, where you only get your gun out of your holster and you get it up to about waistband before you can pull the shots. 1, 2, 3, then you can extend out. But most shootouts happen from 3 to 7 feet. So we're not planning for this long distance. So the way to plan, the way to be a better professional is to go to course. Figure out how do you move. When I always say, if you see me and my guys, we working with somebody, it could be a high profile person. By the time you see us, we're already gone. By the time you try to figure out where your phone is to get a selfie, who that's and we're already gone. That's the way real professionals work. Now, if they're going to be somebody that if you have a principal who wants to take pictures, I always ask in the beginning, ma'am, sir, all right, we're going to be out in public today. I know you got several meetings. How do you feel? Do you want to take selfies? Do you want to take autographs or give autographs? And then be guided by what they say. That way, you're not stiff arming people. You're not being rude to people. You can be really polite, really precise, and move like you need to move with your principal to keep them safe. Because that's the end of the day. The longer when you stop, you keep yourself on the X, and the longer you stay on the X, the more risk that's involved. Let me read some more of these comments. Put my glasses back on. I hope you guys are enjoying this live. Do me a favor, do me a favor, hit the like button. Uh, you guys help me, though, your likes, your comments. It helps me to get into the algorithm, helps the channel to be discovered, and it helps me to deliver more content just like this. I am probably the only security podcast that comes from a security approach on all of this stuff. I really wanted to know. I didn't realize that today. I was just came home. I've been home for maybe since about 8 o'clock. I took a quick nap. I took like an hour nap because I wanted to come on live, but I was traveling today. As soon as I got home, just took a quick nap, and I wanted to prepare it to be fresh for you guys to talk. But nonetheless, it's always a pleasure to be on here with you guys. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for all that you do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, become a member, and remember to watch the other videos I have. I'm gonna talk for a few more minutes, but I'm gonna answer some of these questions and kind of put out some of these comments too. The rifle, RG said the rifle was never broken down, and they said he did it twice, right? He was typing paragraphs to his roommate while he was on the run, right? That doesn't even make right, L. That doesn't even make sense. He's typing paragraphs while he's on the run. Doesn't even look like the same guy in the video, right? Doesn't look like the same guy. They are saying there was another person on the roof. Exactly. Well, the old guy got his phone searched and is now facing child exploitation charges. We're being played like a fiddle, CC. Krista, that's actually kind of funny. Hey, follow me, please. T Mac, I'll follow you when I get off. Yeah, there's an interesting rumor about Charlie becoming disenfranchised with Israel. Okay. All right. I don't know if Israel carried this out, and that the U.S. would allow something like that to happen on American soil. But this kid, right? This kid may end up being a Jeffrey Epstein case. He may never make it out of that prison. We may be hearing something about him hanging himself in a jail cell. Honestly, he's very stoic. He in his hearing today, he didn't say much. He didn't even give any body language. He could pretty much stared at the camera, one word answers. He didn't say much. And had I known today was his trial or his preliminary hearing, I would have flew out there. So these are some of the things I do. Like I said, I covered the Diddy case. I'm going to cover the Luigi Mangione case. So I'll be in New York for that. And he had a hearing today as well. I am definitely going out to Vance Bolter case in Minnesota, where he shot and killed the Speaker of the House of Minnesota and her husband, a Congress member from Minnesota, and he also shot Senator John Hoffman and his wife and tried to assassinate them in their own home. So I'll be going to his trial in Minnesota, and then you see this lovely face in Utah when this trial comes up. I'll be there covering that. And the reason why I'm covering this stuff is there's nobody covering this stuff from an executive protection standpoint, and all of this stuff falls under the executive protection purview. And while all of these people are saying that they would have, Superman this and that Charlie Kirk would have been okay, and none of this stuff wouldn't have happened if they were in charge in the detail, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you were in charge of Charlie Kirk's detail, his family would be trying to figure out how to sue your ass, and you would be fired trying to look for another job. And then when your clients ask you, okay, can you give me a reference? And you say, I work for Charlie Kirk, you'll never work in this industry again. That's just the truth of the matter. Again, if me and my team were out of there, if there were absent any threats, we would have taken into considerations the roof. We would have taken into considerations the manpower. We would have taken into considerations if we even needed to do the event, move it inside, or if we could even cover the roofs. If we couldn't cover the roofs, if we were very concerned about it, we would have covered the roof if we were concerned about it. But again, there would have to be a bona fide, quantified, and qualified threat for that to happen. Without that, all you can concern yourself is what's close. That's it. You can look up to the roof occasionally, but if you're concerned about what's close, you're probably not going to be looking at the roof. I'm just going to be honest with you. And a sniper's job is not to be seen. And this guy did a very good job until the shot went off, and he had to get up and run away. Again, I do not believe. I want you guys, when you get off of this YouTube live, I want you to go to my channel, go back on my channel, and look at the video I made about the gun in the backpack. So I'm standing there with a 30-06 rifle. I'm just telling you, showing you what it looks like, showing you that it can't be broken down, and showing you that it cannot be put into a book bag. So this case is just weird. I watched a bit of the Cash Patel hearings today. I don't know what you guys feel about Cash Patel, but I can tell you the truth, man. This guy has no investigative experience. He has adjudication experience, but no investigative experience. And he is in over his head as the director of the FBI. And to hear him, you could tell that he's in over his head because he feels like he needs to qualify himself. Like, oh, at my direction, and I told my people, and these guys did this, and at my direction, and he's trying to take all of this credit from what the school of leadership I'm from. They always tell me, and always told me, and I always tell the people that follow me, if shit goes well, if it goes well, everything goes smooth, and you're getting applause and kudos, it's all because of the team, my subordinates. I don't even like to say people work for me. I like to say I work with them, or they work with me. But my team, we succeeded because of my team. If it wasn't for them, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't even imagine doing it. I like to thank Candace. I like to thank Bungie, Kalante. I like to thank Larry and Chris. This is what a real leader does. People know that it was your leadership that invoked them to do that. You don't have to tell people at your direction and they did it because I told them to do it. I mean, that just sounds like a very insecure person to me, if you ask. But nonetheless, I've also learned and I also teach when shit goes wrong, that leader takes all the responsibility. You know, my team did the best that they could. You know, I didn't show up that day or today. I mean, I could have been better. You know, I keep running these things through my head. How do we get better? How do we move on from here? How do I learn from my mistakes? How do our team become better? But this loss, this L, this issue, it's all on me. And in the last few years, even with the what's the girl name? The director of the Secret Service at the Butler assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. She never went to the scene. You think about this. You are the head of Secret Service. The head of Secret Service. They had an attempted assassination on a past president and current presidential candidate running for president at a campaign rally, and you never went to the scene, but you show up to the RNC a couple of days later, and they roasted her and they chased her through the RNC convention. She never showed up to the scene. Let me tell you, I remember being in Washington D.C. Right, you have watch commanders through your police department. You have watch commanders. Watch commanders could be a lieutenant or a captain. Those they run all of the seven police stations, the operations during the day, right? While the commander handles meetings and other things, but the watch commander, he or she is in charge of the watch. So whatever goes on, if there's a shooting, stabbing, violent crime, some major incident, the watch commander is supposed to show up. So I had been the watch commander multiple times, but also when the chiefs of police and the commanders go to sleep at nighttime, they will choose one captain, and you have to from the department, and the captain has to serve his his time. It could be a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, as the Nighthawk. Now, the Nighthawk is in charge of all of the watch commanders when the chiefs of police and the commanders are off duty. So you could be a captain and be the Nighthawk, and could be a captain and as a watch commander of another district. But when you come on the scene, that captain has to respect your authority as the Nighthawk. Okay, I remember going to a scene, and it was a homicide in a police district. And as the Nighthawk, I'm just gonna go because I get to go through all seven police districts because I'm in charge of the police department for that night. So I go to this scene where it's a homicide, and I see the sergeants there, I see the officers, and I said, "Where's the watch commander?" They said, "Oh, he's in the office." Oh, well, who is the watch commander? And they told me who the watch commander was. I called the watch commander down there, and I'm the Nighthawk. I'm in charge of the whole police department, and he's in charge of his police precinct, and he's sitting in his office when there's a active homicide investigation going on. Man, I ripped into that dude so bad. Why aren't you down here on the scene providing leadership and counsel to your subordinates, to the investigation team, making sure that they get the resources and the things they need to make sure that we can bring closure to this investigation? He had nothing to say. And he was my rank, but at that time I outranked him. We were the same rank. I outranked him because I was a Nighthawk on duty for the department. Now, what I say that to say is this, I forgot her damn name. The Secret Service, the past Secret Service, Cheadle. She had access to private jet, helicopter. She could have got one of her people to drive into the airport, put them on the tarmac, get them on a jet, and get her to Butler, Pennsylvania in less than 30 minutes. And she did not even go. She didn't go to the scene at all. So, um, this is the thing of leadership. You know, and something like that, you had not only was the president attempted to be attempted to be assassinated, but also you have troops, agents, uniform officers that were there who experienced that. They could have gone through PTSD, who needed support and leadership from their people, from the higher ups in the department, who may have needed some kind of therapy or any. You don't know what was going on, but as a leader, not to show up, that wasn't a good thing. That wasn't a good thing at all. So I say all that to say, I say all that to say, um, showing up, knowing what you're doing, giving support for your personnel, and also really just digging down into the whys of why this happened. This could have been only way this could have been prevented is counseling it, bringing it inside. Drones could have been a resource. You could have had somebody fly drones. Maybe they were looking on top of the roofs. But again, if you got somebody flying drones, there have to be somebody experienced, know what they're looking for, and if that person can fly a drone, you could just assign somebody simply to stand on top of the roofs, or to their only purpose is to observe the roofs from a certain vantage point. So drones, I mean, it wouldn't have stopped nothing. Maybe prevented it, slowed it down. I'm not sure if it would have stopped anything. So outside of moving it into the inside, getting more resources that you have money to pay for, or canceling the event, this event was bound to happen. And there were some other things. Somebody said, well, they could have put a bulletproof thing around them. Okay, very true. How many speaking events have you seen on TV? Presidential candidates, governors, senators, pastors, motivational speakers. How many of them you see on stage with a bulletproof panel around them? I'll wait. I'll wait. Not even our president has it. And the only time they had it for him is when he spoke after the assassination attempt at Butler. And they did it a couple of times, and then they don't do it anymore. So people saying, yeah, we could have put this around and prevented that bulletproof panel. Yeah, okay, I hear you. Y'all just talking a lot of nonsense. You saying you would have covered these building tops. Yeah, I hear you. But what resources? Okay, okay. Even if you get the resources, now who's going to pay for them? So you could have put up again a banner, a flag, something as you see in some of these other presidential campaigns to obscure the view. There are some things that you could have done, but it comes at a cost, and it comes with also a cost and time and planning, which most people in the executive protection agency don't do. They just show up, day game day, no playbook, but only the playbook that they run in theory from day to day. Routine. They say routines to get you killed. Routine patrol. We also have random patrol. Ain't no routine patrol. You patrol maybe routinely every day. That's your routine to patrol your patrol area. But a routine patrol, like, hey, I'm gonna go to this building this day, and I'm gonna go to this building this day. That don't do nothing but get you killed. If you operating in a routine, you have to. Everything is a case by case scenario. You have to look at the risks, you have to look at the threats, and you have to work together as a team with communication and other resources that's on the ground. Otherwise, you can say this event ain't gonna go. We're gonna cancel it. It's too risky. Let's move it inside. It's too risky. You're still going to have to fight with your principal because they're going, oh, no, come on, man, let's do it. I'm safe. I mean, nobody's going to kill me. Nobody's going to do nothing to me. Yeah, it's just a bunch of rhetoric until it happens. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this podcast episode, this YouTube episode, has been brought by Safety First Firearms Training in Washington, D.C. Check them out for your multi jurisdiction concealed carry. They have the best prices in the Washington, D.C. area. They also can get you Arizona, Florida, Utah, and Virginia licenses. And with the Utah and the multi-state licenses, you pretty much cover 48 states to carry your gun with reciprocity without a chance of going to jail. So if you're interested in concealed carrying, get your firearm. I think right now is an ideal time to do it. I would highly recommend that you check out Safety First Firearm Training. I'm going to put the link to their website in the description below after I finish this live. Um, right now, and again, right now, if you walk into, I've been retired for 18 years from the Metropolitan Police Department. I stopped carrying my guns. I moved down to North Carolina. I moved down to Southern Maryland. I moved in Florida for a while. It was peaceful. I didn't need to carry any guns. I wasn't worried. Down here, I'm not worried about being robbed. But nowadays, you have to be worried about going to the grocery store, the Home Depot, the Lowe's, Target. People are shooting people in the parking lot. There's mass shooters at the park and concerts, et cetera, et cetera. So now, for my own safety, I'm not, I actually carry a gun now, and I can't believe that after 18 years of not carrying a gun after retiring, that I'm actually carrying a gun every day now, no matter where I go, because I'm not afraid to be shot, but I'm ready to defend myself if stuff goes down. I was at my mom's house earlier today, and my brother was there. My mom was just got out of the hospital. We were sitting in the living room talking to her, and I grew up in a very contentious place, a very was pretty much the hood, right? The hood. My father was shot out front of the house during a robbery, or one of my best friends killed next door to my house. My mom still had the bullet holes in the building in her house for a while. They repaired it. A lot of friends got killed on my street. So crack cocaine, all of that stuff. So I think when I went there today, my brother went there. I could still it's like there was a little bit of PTSD. We were shell shocked. Well, he was shell shocked. So when I came in, he walked in the door first, and then I came in behind him. And as I walked in, he reached to close the door. And I said, "Why you close the door? Let some light in, because I want some natural light come in." He said, "Oh, I forgot. We got the security guy in here." I was like, "Yeah, that's right. The security guy in here. They could come in this joint, but they ain't going out. And they do go out, they're not going out the same way they came in." And now it's just simply because I carry my firearm with me, and it's not enough to carry your firearm. A lot of you guys get these CCW licenses. Women, you putting the firearm in your purse, and when people come to rob you, the first thing they do is snatch your purse. So basically, you just gave them a firearm to use against you, along with your car keys, your identification, your credit card, and everything else that you got in your cell phone, everything else that you got in your purse. So if you're carrying a firearm, you need to get some kind of holster, belly holster, some kind of, whatever, and strap it on and carry the gun the right way, because you want to be able to defend yourself if shit hit the fan. So concealed carry license. Another thing, right now, because of everything that's happening in the executive protection industry, all of these politicians being assassinated, attacked, political assassinations, attacks on VIPs, celebrities, politicians, corporate executives, corporate. My phone at my office rings every day. Emails pop in here every day. Corporations are now saying, "Hey, okay, we actually see the light." Sometimes they get scared for a while, and when things calm down, and they fire the security, or so they just try it out. But right now, is the will go down in as the best time in history. You'll read about this in 20 years. 20 years from now, how this was the best time in history to ever become involved in the executive protection industry, to get an executive protection job. I've had jobs the last couple of weeks that I ran out of people, and I have an army of people across the United States, but I ran out of people to put into those some of those jobs. So, and I don't call people who aren't trained, because when my clients say, "Okay, I need X, Y, and Z," I say, "Okay, I can do it." And they say, the next question is, they say, "Can you send me their bio?" That eliminates probably about 90% of the people who are actually in this industry, because what are they going to put in their Bible? Some gun classes that they went and took, that they work with a certain celebrity or entertainer. What are you going to put in your Bible? I mean, your Bible. I guess it is a Bible, but what are you going to put in your bio? The clients would be interested in using you on a detail. But I have more work than I have oftentimes, people to do the work. And even some of the students that come through my class, and people are looking for a full-time thing, but the executive protection industry really doesn't work like that unless you're working like with Meta, or one of the big companies, Nvidia companies that have robust protection teams, 4 or 5 guys, 10 guys. Not a lot of companies have that. So there are very few spots in there. The work that you'll get in the executive protection industry will be inconsistent. It will be plentiful if you're good, but still inconsistent. But right now, it is a place where it is consistent. So and I say inconsistent, like, okay, guys want to get full time. That's not gonna happen. You ain't gonna get no full time work unless you go with a corporation. But if you're working with an outfit, a security company who does high profile people, that phone could ring anytime. I could get off of this live right now and check my voicemail, check my email, check my text messages, and there could be an assignment on there to say, "Hey, we need you in San Diego, by 1 p.m. tomorrow morning," and that has happened. So I keep my suitcase right here. It's on the floor. I unpacked it when I got home, and I'm starting to repack it again because I'm ready to go. Is when the phone rings, I'm ready to go. I just gotta maybe throw a couple of toiletries in my bag and a couple of other things that I may need specific for that assignment, and then I'm out the door. But that's because I'm in high demand because of the path that I've laid, that I've trailblazed for you guys to get into the industry and take advantage of it. But there are more jobs. There are more jobs right now than there are qualified people to actually fulfill them. So if you ever been thinking about getting into the executive protection industry, right now will go down as the best time in history. You can mark my words. If you got a pen and paper, get it out and write this date, September 18th or 17th, 11:50 p.m. The security czar said it. If I wanted to make my break into executive protection, I need to move now. You need to get certified. You need to go to a reputable class. I would say do your research on the classes that you go to. I'm not gonna make any recommends about recommendations. If I'm going to plug anything, I'm going to plug the MVP School of Executive Protection because we're the fastest growing executive protection school in the world. We train over 100 students a year, many of them who go on to work with high profile clients, corporations, and world leaders. And we, I'm sorry, I was reading a message. Yeah, and many who go on to work with high profile clients, corporations, and world leaders, and happily are still finding consistent work right now. And the more calls come in, I call a lot of guys. Some of the guys already have. This is why guys can't find consistent work. Some of the guys already have full time jobs, and when a client calls at the last moment, you need to be able to go. So I call, hey man, I got this. Or we're putting in a group chat on the Discord or whatever we're communicating, and I'm telling people, and they can't take off of their jobs like that. People can't move like that. So if you really want to be successful, you're gonna need to have some kind of freedom with your employment, um, when it comes to working these executive protection jobs. Otherwise, you ain't gonna get on any details, and people call you, and you be like, "Oh, I can't." Then they're gonna stop calling you, and they're gonna move on to people who are available. So they said the best ability is availability. So make sure you're available. You can take advantage of some of these classes. Let me look a couple of more questions, and I'm gonna jump off in a few minutes. No, RG said you can see him carrying the rifle wrapped. No, that was his book bag, and he grabbed the book bag by the loop. He said that the rifle was covered in the black tile. That's not true. Um, yeah, the shell casings are the only thing that can read, and that gun has the shell manually remove after the shot. Right, and that's right. And so with the bolt action, you had to pull the bolt back and eject the round, but he didn't do that. There was no spent shell casing found on the scene. All right. So any questions? It's a lot. I can't even. That's so much. But any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Oh, there you go. Thank you, Bungie. Put the training course down there. Right now, listen. This class has got so popular. You guys who don't know, the Washington Post did a story on the MVP School of Executive Protection 2 weeks ago. So check that out too. Is the link is on my community in the post. You'll see pictures on it, but there's a link in that description. So check out the article. I'm not bluffing, and I don't have to brag or anything, but uh, these people sort seek me out, for this information. So I want you guys to check it out. CC, thank you for joining. Yo, what's up, Tech Nine? Damon, the Honorable Minister Lewis for yeah. I'm just trying to read some of these comments before I jump off. Yep, Damien, it costs to be a leader, and you got to take some hits. Yeah, 150 to 200 yards is about two football fields. Actually, that's not a hard shot at all. With the rifle and a good scope. My scope is a vortex scope, and I could take that shot without even blinking. And my my ex partner, Reggie Gunner Coswell, was a Marine Scout sniper, and been trying to get him on these platforms to talk about that, but I don't know where the brother is. Thanks, man, for my shirt. Also, I'll post that on my how to get this shirt too. If you, I got a better one. You like this one? Yeah, Gunner is a scout sniper. I've been trying to get him online. What's wrong with this shirt? There we go. You like that? This is my favorite one right here. So the goat. What's up, Rob Glenn? That's my man too, Rob Glenn. He said my little brother. I mentored him for a long time. I got to see him. Hope you doing well, Rob, and your mom's is doing good as well. Tell her I said hello. Any questions, y'all? Any questions? Anything y'all want to talk about? Bungie says if you have a question, ask. Um, the, these lives are a gateway for you to get people talk about gatekeepers in the industry. I'm no gatekeeper. I'm a gateway. So these lives are your free. Just think about this. Free. Some of you never seen me before in life, or seen know people who work directly in the industry the um doing the things that you want to do or dream of doing, but you can log on, pick up your phone, log on, and talk to people who have the expertise who can guide and coach your career so that you can do the things that they're doing. I was talking to my brother today. My purpose in life, honestly, he was like, "Yeah, you could do, talk about selling the company because 2 years I'm out. What I could do?" I said, "Bro, listen, man, I'm living my purpose. Like I don't pursue money. I pursue my dream. I love this stuff. I love it, and part of my purpose is to impart the wisdom and experience that I've gained over the years to other people who are going to be the new me, the new generation of executive protection agents, close protection agents, protectors, bodyguards. That is my purpose, to mentor and coach you guys to help you build successful careers and successful businesses. So when you come on to a platform like this, don't sit and just watch. Ask questions. Bungie right there says, "I'm the right hand." He said one question changed his life. I mean, prime example. I don't need to come in here and tell you, try to sell you no dream. I got people right here telling you this out of their own mouth. One question changed his life, and we just finished a week long detail. He lives in on the West Coast, and I flew him. Not I flew him. My client flew him here, put us in a hotel for a week, and we rocked out. We had three details going on at one time last week, and every person who worked on my details, and Bungie can attest to this. Every person who works on my details, it's nobody that I knew, nobody that I worked with previously, um, in the industry, except one person, Gunner. He just worked on the detail with me. But all the people who work on my detail, every last single agent comes from directly from my executive protection courses. Every last one of them. So you can't send me a resume to my company and say, "Hey, I went to this school and I've been working in executive protection for 35 years or whatever, and I want to get down with your team." I mean, I may look at it, if I don't meet you out as some kind of like mixer or something like that. I haven't had an opportunity to judge your character and your genuineness. I probably wouldn't even look at your resume. So I need to be able to get somewhere. You need to be able to get into the room to get your resume read, so to speak. So when people send a resume, not they could be well qualified, but when I'm in these classrooms with people, we build a trust and a relationship and rapport right there in the classroom, and I get to watch you and I get to see what you're about. If you show up late, if you don't show up on time, if you stay late, if you how did you wear your clothing? How was your hygiene? Did you talk too much? Did you not talk enough? Did you work well with your team? Did you argue and banter with your team? Because they see all of that stuff in these courses. So during those days, I'm doing my homework while you guys are studying. I'm doing my homework of who I want to take to the next level with us. And after each and every detail, myself, Bungie, Candace, Idris, Kalante, we all say, how'd you like this person? If this that what you think? They somebody say, "Oh, this person talked too much. This person couldn't stay on post. This person, whatever it is." And then we decide if we want to bring that person back. And that's just how it works. Nonetheless, I've been talking for almost an hour and a half. You guys rock. You are the reason that I do this. Make sure you check out my website. Bungie posted it, www.trustinmvp.com. Right now, our classes, man, our classes have doubled in price. And that's why I try to tell you guys a long time ago, get into these classes. You $1,800, $2,600. This is chump change for classes. Our classes are now $10,500, $7,500, and $7,500. So the classes now have increased in price because the value has increased. The class sizes has shrunk because we can't fit all of these people in class. We have a waiting list every class. Waiting list oversold, and this is evidenced by the Washington Post article. You guys can check it out on my community and my post, my YouTube community, the post in my YouTube community, so rather. So check it out. You're interested in the class? Don't let the class price scare you. We got 50% promo. We got like 8 spots left between the last two classes of the year, DC in October and Miami in December. Get on the website, man. Click the link and change your life. That's all I'm gonna say. Change your life. What I do here at MVP is life changing. Um, that's it. You guys don't have no questions? I love you. I appreciate you. Until next time, if you have a topic, shoot me a DM. We'll talk about it. But I'm probably going to be following this Charlie Kirk case. I don't want to be talking about this often. Um, and we'll just keep it rolling. Tomorrow's Thursday, so I'll see you back here on Friday, same time, same bad channel. If you're working in security tonight, be safe. Make sure you're thinking about your family. Make sure you're thinking about getting home. Do the right thing. You're armed, don't be out here without no protective vest on. Make sure you wear your bulletproof vest. Use good tactics. Use good strategy. And see you on the next live. Peace, Bungie. Thanks a lot, man. I love you guys. Appreciate it. I'm out.